Okay, welcome to the second lab session for week 2. This will cover most of the assignment that is due Sunday. This is the Researching Credible Connections assignment. I'm going to go over it with some care, explaining most of the steps involved. I'll even, again, kind of like with last week's assignment, I'll even sort of do some of the actual the actions associated with the assignment, because like the first assignment, um, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the chat. I thought Joshua was saying that the volume is low, but I think he's referring to the number of students. Yeah, like last week's assignment, I don't think it's terribly difficult, especially when you see me walk you through the essential steps. But again, if you just rely on the assignment sheet itself, it can seem kind of overwhelming. So that's why I like to go over these assignments with some care. Here's a quick overview. I just want to get some updates about how the team debates, the misinformation debate, is going, and then we'll talk about the assignment that's coming up itself, and then open things up to questions. Okay. Let me begin here. I don't actually have a slide for the team debates. How are the team debates going? I saw that Team A's discussion board seemed like it was moving. Team B's board seemed like it was also happening. Team C's board was pretty quiet. But I think that's because their side of things doesn't really begin until Team A and Team B get their materials. Okay, good. Team B is revising their statement already, so that's a good sign. That means that research has already been done. And that's, wow, you guys are kind of ahead of things. Remember, I did extend the deadline a little bit, so Team A and Team B have until tomorrow night at midnight to get me things. And by the way, someone already sent me a message. Team A and Team B, the simplest way is simply to email me your statement. I'm going to go ahead and type my email address in the chat. It's also on FSO, but just in case. Okay, there it is. It's fullsail.com. Don't get confused. Students have an edu ending, but instructors have a .com ending. That's probably the quickest way. I mean, you could technically post your statement to the board, but sometimes statements get sort of, I don't know, not corrupted, but they end up not quite looking right when posted to the page, or certain elements that would just look, I don't know, sharper when they're submitted as a document or a PDF, or however you're going to hand in your statement. Just don't quite look right on the board. And it's not as easy for Team C, I think, to go back and forth to the board and sort out among all the different posts there which one's a statement, which one isn't. So if I can get those materials and then pass them on to Team C, that's probably the most efficient way to do it. Okay, yeah, Garrett says that his team is also finishing things up. Okay, good. So things are coming along pretty nicely. And it sounds like the stuff we were worrying about last time with Team A not having enough members involved to get things done, it looks like that's been solved. Again, there was really no reason to panic because not everybody's here for the live go-to session, so it's pretty much understandable that there might be a delay in terms of contacting your team members, hearing back from them, organizing a plan, and so on. That said, I do notice that there are some people who are sort of MIA or not quite being involved. That's okay too. The goal here, I chose very carefully to make sure that each team has at least 3 participating members, or members that I'm pretty sure were going to participate. And, again, I'm not looking to penalize anybody. I'm not looking to be a mean instructor, but if any of the people who've been sort of absent show up at the 11th hour and don't really contribute much to your team's work, you do not need to feel compelled at all to include their names on the statement that you hand in. Okay? Nick says that Team B has 3 people. Okay, like, it would have been nice if there could have been 5, 6, whatever. But 3 is like the minimum number that I'm always aiming for. That at least 3 people. That means the work is being split up kind of nicely among enough people. So yeah, Dwayne, you'll just have to look and see which team you're in. I can't remember off the top of my head which team you're in. But you'll want to find out who your members are. Yeah, O'Shane's in Team C. Team C just got lucky. They're I think they have like 5 or 6 members that are all present and available. So they're going to be in good shape. Okay, so good news. Let's move on. Let's talk about the assignment that's due this Sunday. It's the Researching Credible Connections assignment. like here's a quick overview, and then we're going to switch to the actual assignment sheet so we can look at what the assignment's asking for. But this assignment, in which you're going to choose a company to research, and you're going to use the Full Sail Library database to do so, and search engines as well. But this assignment will take the form of a presentation. So you can choose what kind of presentation tool you like. Most people choose either PowerPoint or Keynote, right? The two sorts of classic slide presentation software. PowerPoint is pretty much standard on PCs, although it's available for Mac as well. Keynote is kind of Mac's version of PowerPoint, just as Pages is Mac's version of Microsoft Word. But there are other tools you can use, like Prezi. Have people heard of Prezi before? It's pretty popular. It's pretty famous. It's an online tool, so it's not something that you have to have installed on your computer like PowerPoint or Keynote. It's an online tool, and it's what's not jokingly, but sort of casually called 2.5D, meaning it's not true 3D, but it creates the illusion of 3D, because if you've never seen a Prezi presentation, one of the cool things about it is it sort of swoops in and out, it zooms in and out. It's not a flat sort of static presentation the way that PowerPoint and Keynote are. Although I do understand that Keynote, if you get underneath the hood of the program, it can do a lot of different things. But Prezi sort of does those things for you automatically, even if you're not an expert. So if you're interested in trying out a new presentation tool, Prezi, why not learn it? Nick, yeah, Prezi is free online. I can't remember if there are tiers that you'll have to pay for, but yes, I know for a fact that the basic elements are free. I've had lots of students use Prezi. Garrett's used Prezi, so maybe he knows better than I do. I can't remember if it's a completely free tool or if there are aspects to it that are like in a pro version. Yeah, and it's really entertaining because it's hard to describe unless you see it in real time, but you know, it spins, it swirls, it zooms in and out. It has this kind of, it feels more active than a static PowerPoint presentation. Blogs, students never take me up on this to create a blog, but I'm going to show you how a blog actually could work really well for this assignment, because the sorts of information that you would put on separate pages of your blog could just take the form of separate slides, the way those sorts of work in presentations. Or you can use any presentation tool that you feel is appropriate, okay? Microsoft Word probably isn't very appropriate for this, although if you can do something interesting with it, that might be acceptable. Yeah, China says you're going to cover 4 articles, 2 from the library and 2 from the search engine. Yeah, that's right. You're a total of 4. So 2 from the library and 2 from search engines, which I'm going to demonstrate right now. Okay, let's take a look at the assignment sheet. That's the rubric. Okay, so you can see the assignment is basically split into 4 parts, and this is why I like to walk students through things, because again, it hits you with a lot of information. Part 1, choose a company you respect, get company info in LexisNexis. Once you find the information, take a screen capture, save the screen capture in your Digo account, then put the screenshot in your presentation, then write a paragraph. Right? It seems like, oh my gosh, they're asking for 10 billion things, and I'm going to try to show you how it's pretty easy. So let's go over part 1, which is just choosing a company that you respect. The global session from this week, and I'm a bit shocked I didn't get the link from the instructor who teaches the global session this week. I'm not sure why, but if you attended the session, it was all about the library. If you didn't, because you were waiting on me to share the link, well, the good news is I'm going to show you some basic stuff about how to get to the library right now. Okay, so you're on your FSO page, right? This is where you go to check your assignments, activities, and so on. If you just click on the Full Sail University icon at the top, I'm going to go ahead and make sure it opens in a new tab. It's going to take you right to the the Full Sail Connect page. So let me sign in. And you should see something that looks like this. Do all of you know how to get here to Full Sail Connect? You can also just Google and type in Full Sail Connect and get there that way. Right? Here it is. Or here it is. No, here it is. Full Sail University login. Does everybody know how to get to the Full Sail Connect page? Once you're in, you'll go to Browse Organizations. And I recommend just clicking on L, the letter L, so you only get results that begin with the letter L, like library. And if we scroll down a bit, we'll see that there's a link for research databases. This is where we want to go. Now, if you attended the global session for this week, it goes over all the different databases that you have here. So there are cool things that later in your programs you might find interesting and useful. For example, where is it? I think it's all the way at the bottom. Like Gamasutra, which is a link to a website specifically about video games or game studies, the International Journal of Computer Game Research. I'm not sure why it's coming. Oh, there it is. Westar Music. That's an important thing because you get lots of free music samples, like not samples by famous artists, samples that have been created specifically for use in a database. But normally you would have to pay like $60 for some of these music samples. But here, as a Full Sail student, you get them for free. And in that global session, I think they cover lots of cool things, like you're able to check out video games from the library. If you're on campus, you just check them out. I think if you're an online student, you can still do the same thing and get them sent to you. So there's a lot of cool things associated with the Full Sail library. But for this assignment, you're really only going to be going to one place, which is LexisNexis. Did I pass it? Did I not get to it? There it is, LexisNexis. Okay? So if we click on here, your first job is to, once you're in, that is, to look into a company that you admire. So it should be industry related, so don't pick, I don't know, Microsoft if your area of study here is music production. Don't pick Nike if your area of focus here is mobile app development, and pick something industry related. I'm going to pretend, just for the sake of an example, that I'm a student here at Full Sail who's come here to study game design. Okay, so once we're in the LexisNexis page, there's this little thing here called Get Company Info, and this is where we can look up the company that we are interested in. So I'm going to pretend that I'm a game design student here. So let's say that I really, really love those Uncharted games for the PS3, or the Jak and Daxter games from the PS2 era, or The Last of Us, which was a great game that came out about a year ago. Josh says, I have a problem. I have what my major is, and then I have what I'm here for. What should I do? Maybe you can give me some more information, like what is your major and what are you here for? Because usually they're both one and the same thing, but maybe in your case it's a little bit different. But okay, let's use my gaming example. I'm going to look up the company Naughty Dog, because if you've never heard of this company before, okay, Josh is saying game art is my major, but I want game development. Okay, but you're in gaming, so you just have to pick something that's related to gaming, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a video game publisher if you can find some other aspect that's related to it. Like I've had students look at things like Twitch, which is sort of like the YouTube for the gaming community, or things like that. You can certainly expand your horizons, but you should, yeah, your area is gaming. So okay, so Naughty Dog, this is a video game publisher. They created all the games I just mentioned. Okay, so we get three items: Naughty Dog, Naughty Dog Cafe, Naughty Dog Coffee Bar and Grill. None of these are the gaming company. Okay, but that's fine because they're only listing the first three. If I click on View All Companies, I'll get a fuller list. O'Shane, yeah. Basically, well, I mean, no, you're in Team C, O'Shane. So I've given you guys an extension. Normally, Team C had until Monday night to respond, to look at Team A and Team B's statements and decide which one was working best. Now I'm giving Team C until Tuesday. So you should have the time and space to finish Sunday's assignment, then take a breather, and then concentrate on Team C's stuff by Tuesday night. Does that make sense? Yeah, Dwayne, you should pick a company related to your major. So if you want to put, if you want to type in the chat box what your major is, I can give you some tips or hints maybe. Okay, so back to my thing. By the way, how many people have heard of Naughty Dog? Am I using a good example that people are familiar with, or does that sound like completely foreign to people? is you'll see there are 10 million results for Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog Design, Naughty Dog Desserts, Naughty Dog Software, which would tempt you to think that's the right one. I actually had to go online to figure out which one of these was right, and I eventually found out it's this one because it's located in Santa Monica. So if I click on that, boom, I get my company info. And the first thing you need to do is take a screenshot. So, actually, I need to look at my notes. On Mac, it's easy. It's Shift plus Command plus 3 if you want to choose a specific area, or 4 if you just want to grab the entire screen. On PC, I always get confused because I no longer use PCs. When I Googled the information, it said to press the Windows icon, the logo, plus print screen. But then others have told me that you just have to press print screen. So if there's someone here who can help the others figure it out. I don't think I have it backwards for Mac. I'm going to try it right now. So if it's not Shift Command 3, or do you mean I have the 3 and 4 backwards? Oh, okay. Maybe I do have that backwards. And maybe that's the reason why I'm always clicking the wrong one and then going, I didn't want to do that. But the most important thing is to figure out how to take a screenshot. If someone can go ahead and confirm, I don't know if we have other PC users here. So, okay, I'm going to do Shift Command 4. Oops, that's the one that selects portion. Okay. Boom, I just took a picture. And it goes to my Dropbox account. So I can go retrieve it in just a second. So that's step one. Pick a company that you admire, look up its information using LexisNexis, and then once you get to the company's profile page, take a snapshot of it. I'm sorry, I'm getting a private message from someone. Let me double check something here. Oh, okay, yeah. If you don't want to take a screenshot, you can also you can just give the permalink. Permalink is something that it's stronger than the URL, because typically if you just copy the URL and send it to me, I might get an error because I'm not literally logged into the research library database. But you can always click on the create permanent link and just copy paste that as what you'll send to me. So you have your choice. Okay, you can take a screenshot or you can send me the permalink. Most people take a screenshot because it's not terribly difficult. Dwayne, if your area is music production, you can just choose any company that's related to music. So it could be something like a major label, it could be a smaller label, it could be an individual consulting company. You know, everybody has a company that they admire that's more or less in the field that they work in. Okay, Garrett's saying that on PC, the Windows button plus print screen worked. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so if we go back to the assignment sheet, I'm going to try to pick up the pace here because I got off track a little bit there. We've done part one, okay? We found a company. We've taken a screenshot of its basic information. Finally, you have to write a paragraph where you'll explain why you chose that company, okay? Why you respect the company and why you chose it. And by the way, most people do this as, you know, you can set up the presentation however you want. So, for instance, I'm just going to insert a blank slide here. And then I'm going to go find my screenshot I just took. Okay. Okay, so there's my screenshot. I don't know. We'll call this Naughty Dog. And either on this page or on the next slide, I might explain, you know, why I chose this company. You know, I respect Naughty Dog because blah 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 blah. By the way, I'm taking no time at all to focus on layout issues or how to make the presentation look as pleasant as possible. I would encourage you to slow down and actually work on these elements a bit. I don't really grade on how pretty it is in terms of like its overall appeal, but you don't just like slap words on the page like I'm doing now. But I'm just trying to show you that at its most basic, we're doing something pretty simple. Okay, where was I? Back to the assignment sheet. Part 2 is you have to go to the library databases in LexisNexis and find 2 recent articles. Now, if you've already looked up your company info, then you could just stay in the exact same place, okay, and find 2 articles. So, the library page, we're already here. We're already looking at things under Naughty Dog. If we go to the left, we have all these options like current news, in the news. So if I just click, for example, on current news, I should get a list of some things that have been published recently. Okay, so lots of stuff, right? Okay, The Last of Us has been remastered for the PlayStation 4. By the way, I would look through these and try to find 2 articles that truly interest you, or even better, try to find 2 articles that you think will be rich enough to analyze in terms of credibility. Because if you just grab the first thing that you see, it could just be a 1-paragraph item that's published in a magazine, and that's not really very useful to go over. Or maybe it's just a purely informational, almost like a press release. The richer the article, the better results you'll get. So, I could just go through any of these. I don't know. Do any of these look good to me? Left Behind leads in descriptive narrative gaming. Naughty Dog discussing possibility of The Last of Us sequel. Okay, that sounds interesting. Okay, it's not terribly long. I might choose something else. But your job is to find 2 articles, okay? Through LexisNexis. Once you find those articles, you have to do a couple different things. First, you have to answer a bunch of questions that are on the evaluation guide. Okay, the evaluation guide is a downloadable asset that you have for this activity. It looks like this. It's basically a list of questions. It's really similar to what you did if you've already participated in the discussion on the 10Cs article, where you had to take an article that you found online and then analyze it in terms of those areas that were listed in that article. This is kind of a similar thing. It's just the questions have sort of been grouped differently. But it asks, for example, what is the title of the article? Who are the authors? Can you find out information on the authors and their job description? If so, what are they? Where was the article published? Currency and continuity. Does the article have a date or a timestamp? Has the article been revised over time? Does the publication have a solid enough standing that the article is going to be accessible? And so on and so on and so on. So questions about content and bias, about citations and links, etc. So your first job is to go through the evaluation guide and answer these questions. Much like the 10Cs article that you're using for, what is it, the 2.1 or 2.2 discussion. Some of these questions you'll be able to answer really well, and some may not apply that much to the articles that you found, but try to go through them and answer as many as you can, and include the questions and answers in your presentation. And second, once you've answered those questions, you'll also write a paragraph for each article where you basically summarize. You've already answered the questions in depth, but the paragraph will give me a sort of summary on if you found the articles credible and why. And again, you need to include a permalink or a screenshot of the articles. Okay, so take your choice. I always think screenshots are easy because once you learn how to take a screenshot, you can just do it. So for instance, if I like this article, I could just take a screenshot of it. Boom, done. There's my proof for the instructor that I found an article through LexisNexis. If not, or again, if you're uncomfortable with taking screenshots, just click on the permalink and include that URL in your presentation. Shane's asking, can someone tell me what was the screenshot for? The screenshots, O'Shane, are for the parts 1 and 2 of the assignment, basically to give me proof that you've found the company info in LexisNexis and proof of the 2 articles that you found through LexisNexis. And if you don't like screenshots, again, you could just send me the permalinks. Okay, so part 3, you're basically doing almost the same thing, except for part 3, you're not going to use LexisNexis to find two articles. You're going to just use search engines, right? So you're going to use like Google. So if I go to Google and look for information on Naughty Dog, let's see what we come up with. And let's hope that it's PG. The Last of Us, How Game Design Shaped Naughty Dogs. Okay, and it's in Forbes. Forbes is a pretty big magazine. Oh, that sounds interesting. Let me click on that. And let me skip past this. Hate it when websites do that. Okay, so this article looks pretty good. I mean, it looks kind of lengthy. It looks like it has some depth to it. It looks like the kind of article that I can go to the evaluation guide and answer these questions pretty well. Like, this is a good article to use. I haven't read it yet, by the way, but it would be a great article you use just by even glancing at it in terms of really examining it for its credibility. For example, some things I already know, that Forbes is a pretty well-respected publication, so that's already got that going for it. But basically, you'll find 2 articles just using like Google or Yahoo or whatever search engine you use. And you're pretty much going to do the exact same thing. You're going to answer these evaluation guide questions, and you're going to include the questions and answers in your presentation. And you're also going to write 1 paragraph each for each article, basically summarizing if you find it credible or not and why. So I would do that for this article. Okay? I would answer all those questions, include them in my presentation, and write a paragraph where I summarize my findings. And for this one, I believe you just have to include the URL. I'm sorry, I keep jumping around, unsure where I need to go. Okay, once you find these 2 articles through the search engines, bookmark them in your DGL list. Okay? So, yeah, there's your proof. You're kind of giving the URLs, but you're basically bookmarking them in DGL. So, and by the way, I have a slide later. It's going to act as a kind of checklist, a sort of reminder of everything you need to do. And finally, part 4, which might be the easiest, is that you're going to learn how to find photos, okay? Because some images are allowable for you to use in projects at Full Sail University, but others are not. The goal here is not to just head online and take whatever pictures you want because they look cool and you can throw them into your presentation. The goal here is always to respect people's copyright. And that means finding images that come from allowable sources. The great thing is that if you go back to the Full Sail library, which I think I lost. Let me get back to the library. Okay, so we're back in the research databases. Near the top, you have what's called the AP Images collection. This connects us to tons of images that can be found and can be used in projects as long as you include the AP reference number. So, okay, we're in. I'm going to do a search for Naughty Dog. Let's see if I get anything. Okay, this is sort of odd. I'm getting pictures of dogs. Maybe those dogs are naughty. But that's okay. If I don't get anything great coming up that way, then maybe I could look for things like, I don't know, Naughty Dog video game. Let's see if that gets us anything. Nope. Well, maybe I'll just look for specific games associated with this company. Naughty Dog logo. Okay. I'm not getting anything for Naughty Dog, so I think the Naughty Dog might be the problem. Yeah, I think I'll have better results if I maybe look for a specific game. Hmm. You know what? Maybe I'm under the wrong thing. Usually it takes me right to the photos area. Maybe that's the problem. That I'm not in the photos section. Well, that's not good. I don't want pictures of Fidel Castro. By the way, I have no idea why this is crashing and burning. Usually this is the example I use every month. This month it's not working well. Okay, here we go. I think I just didn't have images selected. Usually it's already selected to begin with, and I didn't notice it. Okay, so here we get lots of things. Mostly it looks like screenshots from the game The Last of Us, which is fine. You can use that. Uh, by the way, the point here is that you'll find 4 images to sort of spruce up your presentation, so it's not just a wall of text, but there will be other things. Shane says, so we screenshot articles in LexisNexis, then dego the others. Right, right, right. Yeah, that's a simple way to put it. That you'll use screenshots for everything dealing with LexisNexis, the company info you find from the get-go, the 2 articles you find through LexisNexis, and then basically dego from everything else. Yeah, Nick, somewhere in the presentation you'll have to have your dego URL so I can be taken to your library where you have the 2 articles that you found saved. I'm going to click on this picture because I already know what it is. This is a picture of Naughty Dog presenting at the E3 conference. So let's say I like this photo. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this reference number. It's this number that you'll always need to include with your photos. This shows that you got it from the AP Images collection and not somewhere else. And then we can just click Download Photo. It typically just comes in one size. And it can take a while for the download to start. Come on. There it goes. Okay, so now I have the picture. And if I were to go back to my PowerPoint thingy, you know, I would decide where I want to put images. You just have to have 4 that appear somewhere. You know, so use images logically. Maybe I'm going to drag the picture in here, by the way. Okay, and I'm going to include my reference number. And you could just have the reference number. If you want to help make it clear, you can put AP image number, blah, blah, blah. So use images where you think they'll work best in the profile. You can combine it with other information. So let's say I wanted to, I don't know. Let's say this was the opening slide of my presentation. Maybe I would add a photo and then say the reason I chose Naughty Dog is right. Okay, maybe it's something that could accompany my summary paragraph on why I respect this company. So use the images where you want to, but make sure you include the AP image reference number. Yeah, Nick. It's basically make sure that we're starting. I think I can close that. Yeah. We need to make sure that we're in the library. It's probably faster for me just to get back the old-fashioned way. Yeah, that's what I need. Okay, so remember this, Nick? We're in Full Sail Connect. I assume you remember how to get to the library. So once we're in the library, down at the bottom there's research databases. So you're getting to it just like the way you did with LexisNexis, except instead of clicking on LexisNexis, we're just choosing the second option here, AP Images Collection. And that gets us in. And again, don't make the mistake that I did. click on editorial images. This was not something I had to click on before. I think the AP Images interface here has changed a little bit. It used to just take you straight to images, where now it seems to begin with more media. But that's where you can look for it. So you'll need at least 4 images to use. Okay, I've messed up my presentation by throwing a lot of stuff in here. Okay, this might be useful if you want to practice taking a screenshot, or if you... I would take a screenshot because this is kind of way too much information to jot down. But here's sort of an overview of what you need to include. It's on your assignment sheet as well, so if you just trust your ability to remember things pretty well from this session by looking at the assignment sheet, that's fine too. But okay, part 1, you need a screenshot of your company's LexisNexis profile. So if you choose, I don't know, ESPN or Sony or Def Jam or Apple, okay, whatever your company is, when you find that company's profile in LexisNexis, take a screenshot of it. I gotta double check. Does this also ask for a DGO entry? Oh, Shane's right. There are 10 million things that this assignment asks for. Even I can't remember all of it. Capture feature on the DGO toolbar. Save this screenshot in a new list in your DGO account. Okay, yeah, you'll need to save the screenshot to DGO. By the way, I'm not making excuses but I'm not the one who writes these assignment sheets. Again, I'm a member of the English department. I don't quite know why you need to put it in DGO and take a screenshot. Like, the screenshot already serves as proof that you... Okay, whatever. But in theory, yeah, you're supposed to also bookmark it in DGO. Oh, crazy rules. Okay, so a screenshot of your company, a DGO entry for the profile, and a summary paragraph about why you admire this company and chose it for the assignment. Next, you're going to find 2 articles about that company through LexisNexis. You're going to include a list of your answers to those evaluation guide prompts, right? That kind of sheet that has a bunch of questions on it. And you're going to create a 1-paragraph overview for each article, okay? Which basically will summarize your findings, whether the article is credible or not, and why. You can take a screenshot of each article, or you can just include the URL for the permalink as proof, so that I can find my way back to the actual LexisNexis article. I need to see proof that you're getting this from LexisNexis and not just from anywhere online. Next, you're going to kind of do the same thing with 2 search engines. You're going to find 2 articles by Googling. And again, you're going to do pretty much the same thing. You're going to include your list of answers to the evaluation guide prompts. Again, a paragraph overview for each article. And in this case, you're just going to include DGO links. So when I go to your DGO account, I can just click right on there and be taken to the article that you found online. So don't get confused. For the 2 articles found through LexisNexis, you need to answer the evaluation guide questions for each article. So that's 2 sets of evaluation guide questions, and 2 separate paragraphs for each article. Okay, same thing with the articles you find online. Some students forget about this and they just write 1 paragraph for both articles, or they only do the evaluation questions for 1 article but not the other. Okay, you're doing the same thing for each of the 4 articles that you find. And lastly, you'll need to get 4 images through that AP Images database, put them somewhere appropriate in your presentation, and that when you put the image in there, it needs to contain that AP reference number. Nick says 4 paragraphs and 4 questions. It's more like 4 paragraphs and... How many questions are on that evaluation guide? There's a bunch of them. I think there's more than 4. Right. There might be 4 main areas. Yeah, there are 4 main areas, I think. So that's the thing. Basically, you're answering as many of the questions as you can. Again, maybe not all of them are going to apply, and you'll be able to either skip past some or answer them quickly. So it's not going to be maybe as long and scary and in-depth as it seems. But yeah, that's the gist. I think that's what you were asking. Okay. Let's see. There was one last thing I wanted to cover. Oh, for anybody who's... Let me see if I can get there quickly, because sometimes I forget WordPress. Oh, no, I'm not going to find my own. I wanted to show how blogging can be a useful tool for this assignment. But I always forget my WordPress account. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this is a blog that I created a while ago. It's basically an online teaching portfolio, which is a fancy way of saying in the old days when you would apply for jobs, for instance, or just attend a conference, you would carry in a binder your resume and your teaching philosophy and a list of teaching materials. Now you do that all online, so if you click on separate parts of my blog, you can see the separate parts, right, of my portfolio. But blogging actually works well for this assignment because what you can do is, instead of creating categories like I've done here for my teaching portfolio, so resume, teaching statement, courses taught, teaching materials, student feedback, I could just create sections like, Naughty Dog overview, or LexisNexis article number 1, LexisNexis article number 2, search engine article number 1, search, right? We can create separate pages. I've created these separate pages because I'm doing something quite different here. But the blocking tool works really well for this assignment, but I've only had like 1 or 2 students ever use that system. And it's pretty easy. Like, you could use WordPress or what's another popular one? I'm blanking on the name. I think it's listed on my PowerPoint thing. Weebly? Is that the name of it? Yeah, Weebly. Weebly is another famous blog tool. Yeah, Nick, that's the address, WordPress.com. But once you create your blog, you can go into your dashboard, which is basically your set of tools, and you can set up elements, right? You can create separate sections for your blog. You can create separate pages and such. It's a fun tool to try out because I think it really works well, and you can include images, and the images will typically be laid out pretty well. So, for example, here's an image, and it's kind of professionally presented on the screen, and then I can present text. So it can be a nice way if you're not really that crazy about presentation software, or if you think PowerPoint is dull, or if you've just never tried blogging tools before and want to give it a go. That's kind of a nice option. Okay, questions, and if you have questions, please hit me with them because I know I covered a lot. For some reason, I felt like I was more effective at this last month. It felt like tonight, even I was shocked at how much I needed to cover and explain. I think maybe I explained too much. I could have maybe kept it simpler. But do we get the gist that essentially you'll choose a presentation tool and you need to include those basic elements? Okay, right? So screenshots, summary paragraphs, answers to those evaluation guide questions, 4 images that are included somewhere, and where and how you use these different things is completely up to you. But that's kind of the gist of it. Nick says it seems easy enough. Well, I hope so, Nick, because it is a lot. Shane says, okay, WordPress, how do we submit that to you? I would just, to be safe, so you're always following the instructions that are included on the assignment sheet, I would create a Microsoft Word document, or whatever you use, Pages or TextEdit or what have you. So you're making sure that you're always including the information you need to. So you'll put your name, your student number, right? I don't have a student number. I'm just going to make one up. 01111, just binary. That's my student number. And that's just if you're using a blog thing, just send me your URL, right? I don't think that's the actual address for my blog. I'm just going to make it up. just something so that you're officially handing in the assignment with the requirements that are necessary. But the most important thing is that I need a link to your blog, and you need to make sure that the blog still includes all those elements. Like again, some real quick tips for things that students always, not always, but sometimes forget. They forget to include that DGO URL, and sometimes forget to have the required elements in their DGO list. Or they'll include images, but they'll forget to include that AP images reference number. So I have no idea if the image came from the AP databases or not, and I have to take off points for that. Or they just forget some sort of element. They write only one summary paragraph for two articles instead of two separate paragraphs, or they don't answer the evaluation guide questions at all and just write summaries. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff here to remember. I don't know if I even understand your question. Josh's question, I think it's to the room there. Anyone else pass notes in binary in high school? Chanda seems to understand that. I have no idea what that even means. Yeah, I understand what binary literally is, but I'm not sure using binary as letters. Okay. I'm hoping because people... Oh, yeah, Chanda had a question. So the credible is due on Sunday. Right, yeah, yeah. This assignment is due Sunday. So there, again, I don't want to scare people. There's a lot to keep track of. It's sort of like the DGO assignment, which, by the way, I'm still grading. I've gotten through about a handful of them, and I want to get through a few more tonight. I should have them all wrapped up sometime in the morning tomorrow. But that assignment asks you to juggle a lot of things. Remember, go find these 20 terms, bookmark them in DGO, highlight, create section headings, arrange the section headings, put definitions in the section headings, write 5 statements. Although I don't think it's all that difficult. This is sort of similar in that I don't think what you're being asked to do is terribly difficult, but there's so much to keep track of. The biggest part of it, writing-wise, would be answering the evaluation guide questions and writing a couple of summary paragraphs. But I don't think it's that difficult a task to do. It's just you have to keep track of a lot of things. Because I have to be the mean instructor, and I actually have to take off points when certain elements are missing. O'Shane says, okay, so DGO is just for the search engine part. Right. That's a good way to keep track of it, too. LexisNexis stuff, screenshot it. Search engine stuff, DGO it. And to be honest, I'm not even going to make a big deal about that first part where it asks you to take a screenshot of the company and save the screenshot to your DGO list. Again, I don't quite understand why the assignment's asking for that. If you have the screenshot, that's proof of your LexisNexis information. I'm not sure why I need it in your DGO list. Yeah, Nick, if you just take a screenshot of the company and include it in your presentation, that's fine. I have the proof that I need that you went to LexisNexis to look up the company. I feel bad because I actually think the DGL folks do a terrific job. They're on top of things in their department, but I just don't think there's an easier way to phrase these assignments. I think it's not that they're unnecessarily complicated. It's just I don't think there's a simpler or more concise way to kind of communicate this stuff. And I try to make it clearer and easier by walking students through it, but I don't know. Tonight it didn't feel so easy. It went a lot better last month. I don't know. But it seems like most people are getting it, so I actually shouldn't beat myself up too much. Right? Are we mostly clear on the assignment? Are we good to go? Again, I'm not going to force the session to go on and on and on. Chanda's saying thanks to you guys, so that's Chanda's way of saying she's out of here. That's fine. If people are okay, if people don't have questions, you're free to go and enjoy your evening. If you do have questions, I'll hang around a little bit, or if you need to speak your team members through this system for whatever reason, I mean your team members for the team debate, you can do that. Yeah, Nick, the checklist I think covers pretty much everything, so that's a good strategy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'm not going to cancel it or end the session, but I am going to stop the recording now.